Good day, students. Welcome to JSS 2 Basic Science, Week 5. Today we study the nervous system, the body's information superhighway. The nervous system detects changes in the environment, stimuli, processes the information, and coordinates appropriate responses. Without it, we could not think, feel, move, speak, or respond to danger. It is the most complex organ system in the human body, and the brain, its central organ, contains approximately 86 billion nerve cells. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to define stimulus and response, list the divisions of the nervous system, describe the structure of the brain and the function of its regions, describe how nerve impulses are transmitted, explain a reflex arc and reflex action, and identify the sense organs and their stimuli. Let us think about thinking. Key terms: stimulus, a change in the internal or external environment that is detected by a receptor. Examples: light, sound, heat, pressure, chemicals. Response, a reaction to a stimulus. Receptor, a structure that detects a specific stimulus, e.g., the eye detects light, the ear detects sound. Affector, a muscle or gland that carries out the response. The nervous system has two main divisions. Central nervous system, CNS, brain plus spinal cord, the control and processing center. Peripheral nervous system, PNS, all the nerves outside the brain and spinal cord, carry signals between the CNS and the rest of the body. Divided into somatic nervous system, voluntary control of muscles, autonomic nervous system, automatic, involuntary, control of internal organs, heart rate, breathing, digestion, divided into sympathetic, fight or flight, and parasympathetic, rest and digest, divisions. The nerve cell, neuron, is the basic unit. Cell body contains nucleus, axon, carries impulse away from cell body, dendrites, receive impulses. Neurons connect at synapses, junctions, signals cross synapses via chemical neurotransmitters. Section 1. The brain. The brain is protected by the skull and covered by three membranes, meninges. It is divided into three main regions. Cerebrum, largest part divided into left and right hemispheres, controls all conscious activities, thinking, memory, language, learning, emotions, voluntary movement, sensory perception, sight, hearing, taste, smell, touch. Each hemisphere controls the opposite side of the body. Different areas, lobes, specialize in different functions: frontal lobe, voluntary movement, decision-making, personality; parietal lobe, or touch, pressure; temporal lobe, hearing, memory, language; occipital lobe, or vision. Cerebellum, at the back and bottom, coordinates voluntary movement, balance, and muscle coordination. Essential for skilled movements like playing football or playing a musical instrument. Damage, loss of balance and coordination, ataxia. Brainstem, connects brain to spinal cord, controls involuntary, automatic functions essential to life: heart rate, breathing rate, blood pressure, swallowing. Includes the medulla oblongata, controls breathing and heart rate, and the pons. Section 2. The spinal cord. The spinal cord is a cylindrical column of nerve tissue running from the brainstem down through the vertebral column, backbone. It has two functions: a pathway for nerve impulses between the brain and the rest of the body, the center for spinal reflexes. Section 3. Reflex action. A reflex action is a rapid, automatic, involuntary, predictable response to a stimulus, coordinated by the spinal cord without requiring the brain, though the brain later becomes aware of the reflex. Examples: knee-jerk reflex, tapping patella tendon, withdrawing hand from hot object, blinking when something approaches the eye, sneezing, coughing. The reflex arc is the pathway for a reflex action. Receptor, detects stimulus, sensory neuron, carries impulse to spinal cord, relay neuron, in the spinal cord, connects sensory to motor, motor neuron, carries impulse from spinal cord to affector, affector, muscle contracts or gland secretes response. The advantage of reflex actions: they are very fast, no need to wait for brain processing, essential for protection from harm. The brain is notified after the fact. Section 4. The sense organs. The sense organs detect specific stimuli and send nerve impulses to the brain for interpretation. Eye detects light, contains photoreceptors, rods for dim light/black-white, cones for color/bright light, image formed on retina, optic nerve carries impulse to visual cortex. Ear detects sound waves, cochlea, and changes in body position/balance, semicircular canals, auditory nerve carries impulse to auditory cortex. Nose detects chemicals in air, smell/olfaction, olfactory nerve to brain. Tongue detects chemicals in solution, taste buds detect 5 basic tastes: sweet, sour, bitter, salty, umami, savory. Skin detects pressure, pain, temperature, touch via specialized receptors in the dermis. Section 5. Drug effects on the nervous system. In Nigeria, substance abuse is a growing concern among young people. Key effects: alcohol depresses CNS, slows reflexes, impairs judgment, causes liver damage. Cannabis, marijuana, affects memory, concentration, and emotional processing. Stimulants, e.g., caffeine, amphetamines, increase heart rate, alertness, but can cause anxiety and dependency. Tramadol misuse, a serious problem among Nigerian youth, causes addiction, seizures, and mental disturbances. Say no to substance abuse. Trace the reflex arc for withdrawing your hand from a hot surface. 1. Receptor, thermoreceptors, heat receptors, in the skin of the hand detect a high temperature, stimulus. 2. Sensory neuron, an electrical impulse travels along the sensory neuron from the hand to the spinal cord. 3. Relay neuron, interneuron in the spinal cord, the relay neuron connects the sensory neuron to the motor neuron. The brain is informed at this point but the reflex is already happening. 4. Motor neuron, the impulse travels from the spinal cord along the motor neuron to the muscles of the arm. 5. Affector, the arm muscles contract, the hand is pulled away from the hot surface, response. The entire reflex takes about 0.05 seconds, far too fast for conscious brain control, which would take 0.5 seconds or more. For nervous system errors. Mistake 1. Saying reflex actions involve the brain. Reflex actions are coordinated by the spinal cord, not the brain. The brain becomes aware after the reflex occurs, but does not initiate it. Mistake 2. Confusing receptor and effector. The receptor detects the stimulus, e.g., skin detects heat, the effector carries out the response, e.g., muscle contracts. Mistake 3. Saying the cerebellum controls thinking. The cerebrum controls thinking, learning, and consciousness. The cerebellum controls balance and muscle coordination. Mistake 4. Wrong neuron order in the reflex arc. The order is always receptor sensory neuron relay neuron, in spinal cord, motor neuron effector. Sensory carries to the CNS, motor carries away from the CNS. Brilliant work. The nervous system, CNS, brain plus spinal cord, plus PNS or all other nerves. Stimulus receptor nerve impulse CNS response. Brain regions, cerebrum, conscious thought, movement, senses, cerebellum, balance, coordination, brainstem, heartbeat, breathing, automatic. Reflex arc, receptor sensory neuron relay neuron, spinal cord, motor neuron effector, no brain involvement in the reflex itself. Sense organs, eye, light, ear, sound/balance, nose, smell, tongue, taste, skin, pressure, pain, temperature. Neurotransmitters carry signals across synapses. Substance abuse damages the nervous system. Avoid alcohol, cannabis, and drug misuse. For homework, draw and label a reflex arc for withdrawing a hand from a hot object, naming each component and its role.